Hi guys, welcome back to Future Dimensions 360. Today we are going to start a brand new series on React Redux. What is React Redux, why we need React Redux, and what are the functionalities that Redux provide us with React application. We will be learning all those concepts in this tutorial series. In today's tutorial, first of all, we will be learning what is React Redux and what is actually Redux and why we need that. Before proceeding, I will be letting you know some of the prerequisite to start this tutorial series. I will highly recommend you guys to know about the fundamentals of React. If anyone of you guys don't know about React and the fundamentals of React in detail, I will highly recommend you to stop going forward. Just go back to our channel and try to watch React.js for Beginner series, in which you can learn the basic fundamentals of React, then come back and continue to learn React Redux. React tutorial for beginners are available on our channel in both languages, English and Hindi or Urdu. Whatever you prefer, you can proceed with that. First of all, before proceeding, we have to know about Redux. What is Redux? As per the definition of Redux, Redux is a predictable state container for JavaScript applications. Let's divide this definition into three different parts. First of all, it is for JavaScript application. Second thing, it is a state container, and the third thing is it is predictable. Let's move forward and try to learn each one of these points one by one. First one is Redux is what? Redux is for JavaScript applications. How? Redux is not tied with React. Like there is no relation of React or Redux. React is a separate library and Redux is a separate JavaScript library that you can use with either Angular, Vue or even vanilla JavaScript. Anywhere you want to embed Redux, you can go on with that. It's not necessary to go with React and Redux together. If you want to use the Redux library with AngularJS, you can go on with that as well. So Redux is actually for JavaScript application. So it's just a JavaScript library, nothing else. Second point is that Redux is a state container. What do we mean by that is Redux stores the state of our JavaScript application. Consider a React app. What is state? You guys know very well what is state of a component. The value that component stores in its state is actually called a state of a component. For example, we have a login form. The state will look like this, like state is a object in which we can store a username and a password. Similarly, if we have a user list component, we can save users in the form of array in state variable as an object as well. So we can say that state of an application is the state or represented by all the individual components of the application. Like what is the state of an application? It's actually the state of all the components available in the React application. If we can join our application with like small to medium level, the state will look like this. For example, the application state is user logged in, true or false. Username, I'm putting future D, anything username will be. Profile URL will be there. And what are the online users? It's kind of array. And then is modal open will be some kind of variable, boolean variable inside the state. So this is how you can say that Redux is a state container that keeps your state. Like for example, the application state in the last box I am showing is user logged in, username, profile URL, online users or modal open. What you can do is you can join up all the states of your application and save them in Redux library. Okay, so Redux is actually a kind of container that keeps your state. Redux is predictable. What is, you can say predictable is what? way. Like for example, in what way you can say it's a predictable. Redux is a state container. You guys know very well. Like few minutes before, I'm telling you, few seconds or moments before, I told you like Redux is a state container that keeps the state variable inside it. So if Redux is keeping the state variable inside it, we are for sure in React application changing the state of the variables as well. Let's say a traditional to-do app, we are having two different state of a to-do list. It's in pending in the beginning, and once it's done, we will be marking all the to-do tasks as completed one by one. So the state become predictable. From pending, we can change it to completed. We can predict either the task is pending state or complete, and that predictable state is always it's actually stored in a state, and state is a container of React. Redux. So in Redux, all state transitions are explicit, and it is possible to keep track on them. So the changes to your application state become predictable. So like for example, you can keep track on your state. You can keep eye on your state variable. Like in to-do's application, the to-do task is a state variable entry, and you are keeping track of that, either it's completed or in pending state. So we can say that our state is a predictable state, or we are keeping eye on our state variable by using Redux. Okay. So Redux is what? Redux is actually a predictable state container for JavaScript applications. Manage the state of your application in predictable way. Whenever you want to manage the state of your application in a predictable way, Redux can help. Okay. So Redux plus React, what is that? You can say why would we want to use Redux in React application. I might like same question. I'm thinking what you guys should have it after reaching to this point, that for example, we are having a component in React, their on state. Like any kind of component we have in React, they have their on states. We can use state hook, use reducer hook, or we can say like we can manage the state in any scenario. Then why we will be needing Redux? So the answer is why do we need another tool to help or to manage the state? Any kind of question that is coming in your mind, answer is coming in this slide. Let's go on and try to figure out this example. I have an application in which I have a component A, B, C, D, E, F, G on multiple levels. For example, I have an input component A. I am taking the username or the name of a user from component A. Later on, I'll be seeing that I want to display that username in component B. What we have to do is we have to do state uplifting. We have to move the state of the component from A to C and then pass it or drill it through props from C to A or B. Similarly, after some time I got to know that I need to display the username in component Z as well. So when I want to show the username or name of the user in component G, what I have to do is I have to pass that state from component C to E to app root level component, and from there I have to drill it to component F, then sibling so on, and then moving towards component G. This is how I have to pass my name or drill it through multi levels. So consider in your mind that there are a lot of components, or you can say somehow you have 500 plus components in your application. Is it possible to keep track of each component, which props you are drilling through your child? The answer is that it's really hard to go on with that. It's really hard to understand that which component and where or which child you will be needing your props. So in these kind of scenarios, it will be hard or difficult to manage state internally within the React JS. So for that solution, what we have in the React is Redux state container. You can embed Redux toolkit or Redux library in your React application, and that will help you to maintain all the state separately with your application. you don't need to manage any kind of state inside your component. You can manage the state separately along with your application, and anywhere you want to update any state variable, you can directly communicate. Like in component A, I want to update the name, so I can change the name from component A directly in the Redux state container, and it will be provided to my components wherever I want. Either I want in component F or I want in component G. It will be directly communicating with Redux state container and taking the updated value directly. Now, this example is very clear, but do we really have a problem? Like, you guys should be needing understanding that if we have a use context hook along with like reuse context hook in React.js, that already helps us to prevent props drilling. Or if you can join reuse context with use reducer hook, it will be exactly same as Redux library. So do we really have a problem? For sure, like I personally recommend you guys to go on with Redux toolkit. For example, in use context hooks, you can go on by using or saving the static states. What if you have to fetch some data from the server and save it in the state? In these kind of scenarios, fetching this data, performing some async operations, or performing some kind of like third-party tools integration, in these kind of scenarios, the use context or use reducer hook, the ecosystem of React is not much enough to deal with all these kind of situations. So React Reader or Redux toolkit or Redux library will provide you a very rich ecosystem, and along with all these situations. In all these situations, you can deal it very easily. Okay. And second thing is that I will let you know, guys, that Redux 1.0 version was launched in August 2015. So like it was far back, like 4 or 5 years earlier. It was launched 4 or 5 years earlier than React hooks was being launched. So you can say like they are 5 years older than React hooks. So for sure they are much mature in terms of functionality than React hooks or React use context or use reducer. What is React Redux? React is a separate library, as I told you. Redux is a separate library. So React Redux is actually a library that helps you to bind React with Redux, like to bind the UI of React with Redux. React Redux is the official Redux UI binding library for React. It's available in npm packages. You can install it and you can use it. In the coming videos, we are going to have a hands-on experience in all those. Similarly, if I'll take a look on the summary, what we have learned in today's tutorial is React. React is a library for building user interfaces. Redux is a library for managing predictable state in JavaScript applications. And lastly, React Redux is a library that provides bindings to use React and Redux together in applications or in React.js applications. So similarly, like whatever between the in the introductory video is being done, I have some certain points to notify you guys. Few points before we proceed with the practical examples of React Redux. The most basic mistake is you guys are doing that you are learning React and Redux parallelly. I'll highly recommend you to not learn React and Redux parallelly, because in that way you will not be able to understand what is the code for Redux and what is the code for React, and what are the functions of React, or what is the functionality that Redux provide to React. So you cannot draw a line between these two libraries if you learn both of them parallelly. So I'll highly recommend you to learn React first in detail, all the fundamentals, then go on and do hands-on practice with Redux and try to learn Redux. Is React with Redux still relevant? Until today, if React and Redux are still relevant, as I told you a few moments back, that Redux ecosystem is very rich. Like until today's date, everyone sees Redux as state management library. It's very popular and most of the companies, they are using it. So everyone is learning that, because the ecosystem for React Redux or Redux is very rich as compared to use context or use reducer hook. They provide you a lot of functionalities that are not available in use context hooks. So we will be learning all those later on in this series. So keep in mind, it's still relevant and you can learn React Redux by all means. It will help you, and it's actually a single standalone library for the state management that you can learn with and implement with AngularJS as well, Vue.js as well, or any other third-party library for user interfaces. Should you really run React with Redux? For sure, you have to learn, because it will allows you to build a numerous number of applications with very big state management or very complex state management. Should Redux will be added to all your projects? Of course, no. Like, you cannot add Redux to all your projects. You have to think of Redux only if you see that the complexity of our state, of your state in the project, reached up to certain level. There is no specific number or specific criteria mentioned or available when to use React with Redux, but you have to understand it by yourself. When your application start getting slowed down and your state got complex up to certain level, you can change or shift from use context to use React Redux. I will be needing Redux. So this is what the answer is actually. I hope you guys understand it. I hope you guys have a complete detailed knowledge about Redux, what actually Redux is. It's just a state management library, or the state you are able to predict those state you can maintain in JavaScript applications. So see you soon guys in the next video. Stay tuned, take care, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. Thank you, goodbye.